Oh my God.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 found footage mockumentary Strange Harvest. The film is written and directed by Stuart Ortiz and it stars Peter Zizzo, Terry Apple and Andy Lair. Right, okay. This follows... Well, it's a mockumentary that's kind of filmed in the style of a true crime docu-series that you would see on, Netflix or something like that. And it focuses on two detectives, essentially, that were tasked with tracking down a notorious serial killer called Mr. Shiny. His MO basically was, well, almost ritualistic murders and, very graphic, brutal, vicious murders where many of the kills that he did, he kind of displayed them in a certain way. And at every crime scene, he would kind of leave his mark in blood, sort of thing. Claiming, and he would communicate and stuff and claim that he's kind of doing it for a higher purpose and so on and so forth. And this kind of documents these detectives kind of chasing down this serial killer, Mr. Shiny, and we get to see firsthand the brutality of this serial killer. Right, what are my thoughts on Strange Harvest? Well, I knew this one kind of is out there, sort of thing. And I obviously, being a fan of found footage, I would have eventually got around to this one, definitely. But I've been hearing some very, very good stuff about this one. And one that piqued my interest is, someone kind of compared it to the Poughkeepsie tapes. So I was immediately interested. And if you don't know, the Poughkeepsie tapes is a similar concept where, the law enforcement find a massive pile of videotapes featuring like kills of, all the kills of a particular serial killer, and it's a very, very brutal and impactful and hard to watch found footage stroke mockumentary, very much like this one. I do think they are comparable in a lot of ways, the two films. I think Poughkeepsie Tape still kind of nicks it in regards to the darkness and the whole atmosphere of the thing. It just gets under your skin and you can't itch it away, sort of thing, that film. But that's not to demean this film at all. I thought this was fantastic, brilliantly made. And for those of you out there who do enjoy like the true crime docu-series sort of things or documentaries that you see on streaming services, you're gonna love it. You're really gonna love it because they set up this story so well. You know what I mean? They document this killer's reign of terror to such a degree where it kind of, you go cold with it. They even interview some of his victims that survived, and there's not many of them because he made a habit of, killing all of those that he kind of chose. And there's even a kill in this where he shoots somebody but they survive. He basically goes into the hospital pretending to be a doctor until he gets access and then kills her. I mean, really, really terrifying stuff. And he wears this mask that is properly creepy, really creepy. But the film also has some like supernatural undertones to it, in a sense of, like I say, he's kind of, in the notes that he leaves for the police and the voice messages that it highlights in this film, that he's like doing it for a higher purpose, and he's kind of, his hands being not forced, but he's doing it so that he can get this end result, even though we don't really know what that is. And the film does delve into that near the end. You know what I mean? It gets a little bit supernatural, a little bit, but it doesn't lean into it too much. It's almost like, well, what could have happened there? Oh, I don't know. And you never really get to see that. But honestly, I thoroughly enjoyed this. In a, I don't know, really, almost a sadistic way. It was brilliantly made. It felt genuine. I love these sort of things where when it starts off and it puts that little message at the front at the beginning. I know so many of these found footage stroke documentaries do that. I know they do that, and most of the times you just kind of roll your eyes at them. But this one, as soon as I read it, I was kind of like, oh, I'm already invested. And then it starts and it goes straight in, gets its talons in you, and never really lets go. And some of the visuals that you see in this are haunting. Some of the ways in which the bodies are displayed that you get to see is haunting. The voice of the killer, when you hear it kind of, masked, is haunting. The whole concept of this killer is haunting. The fact that he just kills, as it seems, indiscriminately. But to him, he's got a process. Clearly, he's got a process. But they never really figure it out. It's almost the police don't really know what to do. They're desperate to catch him, and they feel absolutely shocking about what's happening, what this killer's doing, but they can't seem to get anywhere with the investigation. Even though they find out fairly early on in the process who he is in regards to without the mask and stuff, but it doesn't matter. They can't do anything about it. So I loved it. It was kind of relentless. It didn't really let up. There was no moments to kind of catch your breath, other than when there were people being interviewed for the mockumentary sort of thing. But when it kind of shifted to found footage, you were seeing things through cameras, showing you, crime scenes and all that kind of stuff. You just you feel like you're there, at the crime scenes, and there's some news segments and stuff that kind of were. Sometimes you see news segments in films like this, and they feel cheap because they look like they wouldn't belong on any news network other than someone's amateur news channel. But they actually seemed and felt quite genuine here. It felt like they'd almost been pulled from a real newsreel sort of thing. So the authenticity here is never really questioned. You do feel like at times you watched a proper docuseries of a genuine real life serial killer that caused absolute chaos and butchered and murdered countless people, including children and stuff. I mean, it's a horrific stuff, guys. If you like your found footage mockumentaries quite impactful and quite graphic at times with some haunting visuals, and if you like the Poughkeepsie tape and that's the kind of thing you do like, I think you're going to really enjoy this one. This is definitely been a highlight for me. Thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's one I strongly recommend. So that's my thoughts on Strange Harvest. I hope you enjoyed this review. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the review, please click the like button. It's very, very helpful for the channel. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. You'd be most welcome, and I'll see you back on the next review.